this is a story about your two daughters, yes?
Yes.
All right, tell us about it.
Okay. My oldest daughter, she's 20 now. We followed the schedule according to what the doctor said, because, you know, I didn't know any different. And my older daughter had lots of ear infections, just ear infection after ear infection, to the point where they talked about putting tubes in her ears. But so they kept giving us, you know, antibiotics and stuff like that, and we followed the schedule. And then when she got into preschool, the preschool teacher kind of said to us at one time that she was a little concerned about, you know, where she was at kind of developmentally, because she would just tend to play, you know, by herself off in a corner and didn't really want to participate with the rest of the group. And I mean, other than that, she was pretty normal, typical child. When she got into kindergarten, the kindergarten teacher said, you know, I think she needs to be tested for maybe ADD or something. And so we took her to the doctor, and they just said, you know, she's really too young, we can't test her yet. And so she was 5 then. So when she got into first grade, she had a new teacher just out of college, you know, and so we kept asking her, you know, well, how she's doing, because we know she had problems in kindergarten. And she just kept saying, oh, she's doing fine, she's doing fine. But I think that teacher just didn't really know what to look for. So when she got into second grade, she had a teacher who was very experienced, and in the first week of school, she says, you know, she needs to be tested. She definitely has, you know, some issues that need to be dealt with. So we took her in, and they tested her, and they diagnosed her with ADD. So we put her on a medication. And
psychotropic medication.
What's that?
Did you go to a psychiatrist and have proper medication?
Yep. So we had to go to a psychiatrist, and they had to evaluate her and test her.
And did she do better on the medication?
Yes and no. She had, I mean, there were pros to the medication, and there were cons. And so
would you say worth it or not?
She was on probably 7 different medications, just trying to get one that would work
and
for her.
Have you actually read the side effects of these medications?
You know, they are. There was one medication that it actually increased her anxieties. So, you know, I took her to the doctor, and I said, this medication's not working. It's increasing her anxieties. And so she wanted to give her an antidepressant for her anxieties. I said, no, I don't want her on 2 medications. I mean, this is a young child. And so
how young did they start to medicate her?
Second grade, so probably about 7.
It's really young to go and have meds like that.
Yeah. So, and then there was another one that she was on that she just dropped weight like crazy. And it's like, this is not good. She just keeps losing weight, you know. So like I said, I think there were 7 different medications for ADD that we tried. And I just thought it was terrible. When she got to be a teenager, she's like, Mom, I don't like these drugs. I don't want to take them. But we could see benefits where she would do better in school on them, but she didn't like the way they made her feel. So, you know, I said, well, if you don't want to take them anymore, you know, then you don't have to. And she struggled a lot in school. Yeah, it actually took her an extra year to get through school to finally graduate. And she was off the ADD meds, and then one time she got on some anxiety meds because her anxieties were so bad that she couldn't focus. She felt sick all the time, headaches, stomach aches. She was missing a lot of school. And then she got on the anxiety meds, and she did better. She did good for a year. And but like I said, it took her an extra year to graduate just because she had so many challenges trying to get through school. So yeah, now with her, she also had the Gardasil because I didn't know any better. And I was very hesitant about it. For some reason, I didn't like it. But my sister at the time was going through college, and she was writing a paper on the Gardasil vaccine. So she needed like an audience, and so she came to my house, and she presented it, you know, and of course she told us all the good points of it. And the other thing was that my cousin.
So your sister was writing a paper
for college,
and she thought it was an amazing vaccine.
Yeah. She talked it up, thought it was really good. You know, talked about how it cures cancer and whatever. And my cousin, right about that same time, or right before that, she lives in Tennessee, and she was in the hospital with cervical cancer, and she almost died. But now that I know a little bit more about that, she also has a lot of autoimmune issues, and so it wasn't just the cervical cancer that put her that close to dying. It was also all these other issues that she's got going on. But at the time, between what my sister was telling me about, you know, the vaccine, and of course she was telling me all the pros, and then my cousin almost dying of cervical cancer, we decided to go ahead and have it done. So my daughter's 20 now, and we need to get her to a doctor. She's never had a pap smear, but she also only has a period every, sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes it's 6 months.
And that's since the vaccine.
Yes. Well, she had it at a pretty young age.
But this is what we're hearing from these girls. It's the
I
same
know.
symptoms.
I know. So,
It's shutting down the...
yeah. I mean, she's doing good now. You know, she's out of school. She's working full time. You know, she's pretty healthy. She listens to a lot of what I say. She'll actually go around and tell her friends, you know, don't vaccinate, don't vaccinate.
So now you don't vaccinate.
No.
And
No.
now, what about your other daughter?
My other daughter, when she was born, again, she was vaccinated according to schedule. When she was a baby, I tell this to people all the time, that she cried literally for 4 months. It was like 4.5 months. She would just cry and cry and cry, and I never knew what was wrong with her. I took her back to the doctor, and you know, the doctor actually told me that her brain was swollen, but never told me why. And at the time, I never connected it, you know. And luckily, she never had any effects of that episode. But I remember the doctor telling me that her brain was swollen, and that's why she was crying and unhappy all the time. And I'm thinking, why is her brain swollen? But they never told me. And so she was vaccinated according to schedule. But you know, other than that, she really hasn't had any issues. She's very smart. She graduated 1.5 years early from high school.
How old are you?
I'm 17. The only thing, you know, she also had the Gardasil, and I don't know if this is a Gardasil thing or not, but she became pregnant with her at 15, and she went in
So
for
for the
her-
people that can't see, right now we have a little girl
She's
sitting,
21 months.
sitting here.
She when she went in for her ultrasound at 20 weeks, they noticed that her cervix was starting to open, and so they put her on partial bed rest. And then we had to go to a different doctor because she was definitely going to be delivering early. So we went to this other doctor, and it was her very first visit with this new doctor. First of all, they constantly pushed for the flu shot, and I said no. Every single
So
visit they
can we
pushed for
can
the
we just
flu
go back? So basically, she got pregnant before or after having the
Gardasil?
Gardasil.
after.
After.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah.
This is the second case we've heard about someone actually being able to get pregnant.
Yep.
So that's one good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then she's pregnant, and they're trying to vaccinate her again.
Yes, they're trying to give her the flu shot. Every single visit that we went there, they wanted to give her the flu shot, and I just kept telling them, no. I even told the doctor, I said, I've read so many stories about people, babies aborting, or losing their babies after getting the flu shot, and she just, oh no, that's not true. I've seen so many of my patients who end up in the hospital with the flu and then losing their babies because they had the flu. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I don't want her having the flu shot, And so then when she went to the
Losing their
doctor,
babies because they had the flu.
yeah,
I don't see how many people can even believe the stuff that's coming out of their mouth.
I know, yeah. Well, this was also the doctor that really pushed us into getting the Gardasil too. So she was nice doctor. I mean, we really
They're
liked her.
all really
but,
nice until you say no or you question
Right.
my vaccines, and then
Right.
they're not.
Yeah. So when we went to the new doctor, it was her very first appointment with the new doctor, and of course, first she sits down and she's just talking to us, and she's like, well, I'd like to give you the flu vaccine, and it's like, well, no, she's not getting the flu vaccine. She's like, well, next visit when she's 24 weeks, we want to give her the DTaP. She says it's recommended that she get the DTaP. I says, well, is it required or is it recommended? She goes, well, it's recommended. She goes, I won't fight you on the flu shot, but I will fight you on the DTaP. And I just kind of let it go at that point because she was only 20 weeks at that time. Or no, she was 24 weeks, that's right, because it was a 28-week appointment that they wanted to give it to her.
So did you get it?
No. So we're in this first appointment with this doctor, and the doctor does the exam on her, and she says, you need to get her to the hospital right now, because she was dilated. And so we went to the hospital. It was really, really scary. They had us terrified. They thought that she was going into labor, and so they, of course, wanted to give her the, I don't know, I researched a lot about vaccines, but not some of this other stuff. But so when she went in at 24 weeks, they had to give her a steroid shot to help the baby's lungs develop in case she was going to be born at that point. And they also told her that she was going to have a C-section because the baby was breech. And so she was terrified. And then they also gave her an IV with, what was that called? The magnesium?
Oh, yeah, the magnesium.
Yeah, the magnesium to stop the contractions. because it wasn't like constant contractions, but it was very slight contractions. So they did that, and they put her in a room, and she wasn't progressing or anything, but she spent 4 weeks in the hospital over Christmas on complete bed rest with this little girl. And they came in at 28 weeks and wanted to give her the DTaP. And I said no. Do you know that at the age of 15, I have no rights to tell them anything medically? And they can't tell me anything medically unless she gives them permission because of the pregnancy?
So the minute your child, who you have care of, becomes pregnant, you lose the rights over
Yep.
her.
Yep.
No, I didn't know that.
Yep. So basically, I really had no say. So I said, well, obviously I have no say. She's the one that's got to say no to the DTaP, and she told them no. And they were actually pretty nice. They didn't continue to push it while she was still at the hospital. So, but then she was, so we got released from the hospital when she was about 28 weeks pregnant, and then she was on bed rest at home, and then at 31 weeks she went into full labor.
So you had her at 31 weeks. Right, and she is a different story. We're not going to talk about that story.
Right.
We're going to for that.
Yeah.
I think people are understanding the situation.
So we don't know if that early labor or the cervix opening early had anything to do with the Gardasil. You know, I don't know.
I mean, it's just amazing. I feel so happy that you were able to have a child from the stories that we're hearing. So there's hope.
Yeah.
Please make sure your sister sees that.
Yes, because she has a daughter who's 12 now, and we just had a conversation the other day, and I was telling her, you know, about everything that I've learned in your documentary and stuff like that, and she goes, well, you're still for the Gardasil shot, aren't you? And I said, no.
Did you explain about your older daughter? What's happened to her since she's had the Gardasil?
Yeah. Well, she needs to see a lot of these videos that you guys have done, because some of these girls' stories are just terrible. I mean, my daughter hasn't been to the doctor yet to find out what's going on with her system. But to not get a period, you know, for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 7 months, you know, something's going on.